Hi, I'm Sandra Burkholder. I'm with eXp Realty, and I'm hoping to give you some valuable information that will help you with your real estate needs. When my kids were little, they would ask me sometimes if they can buy something, and I would say to them, like any good parent does, how much money do you have? So they would sit there and they would count the money in their piggy bank and see if they had enough money to buy the item that they're looking for. Well, as we're adults, that becomes second nature to see if we have enough money in the bank account to buy something that we're looking at. But it's not always that simple. If we're going to buy a house or a car or get an apartment, it's a little more complicated than just looking and counting the money in our piggy bank or our bank account. Bigger purchases like that are a little bit more complicated. So, how do you know if you can afford to buy a house? Well, the first thing to realize is that most likely you're going to need a mortgage. So when you are going to apply for a mortgage, you're going to need to gather a few things. If you're going to go to apply for a mortgage and you need someone to recommend, I do have a few people I can recommend for you, so don't be afraid to ask me. But they're going to pretty much all need about the same thing. They're going to need a proof of income, proof of your assets, employment verification. They're going to need to see your credit history, your debts and liabilities, your debt to income ratio, and they're going to need your identification. Sometimes they'll also need additional documents depending on the loan. So when they're looking for the proof of income, they're usually looking for the pay stubs for the last 2 to 3 months, your W-2s from the last 2 years, your tax returns from the last 2 years, especially for self-employed, and any additional documentation such as child support, alimony, or rental income. They're going to look for your proof of assets. They're going to look for your bank statements, your investment accounts, and any gift letter you may have from relatives. That's an important thing to note because you would not want to borrow from your relatives because that would affect your debt to income ratio. But you can't have money in your bank account that just came from nowhere. So if you have a large sum of money that the relatives gave you and you can't explain it when they go to look at your bank accounts, that's not good either. So a gift letter is important from your relatives that may have given you a gift. Employment verification, sometimes that can just be your pay stub to prove it. Other times they may want a letter from your employer. And of course, if you're self-employed, they may want your profit and loss statements. Your credit history, that's your credit score, and to see if you have any issues. Usually they do want something over 600 for a credit score. Now, on occasion, they may take something lower than that, and sometimes they may want something much higher than that. So do talk to your mortgage lender to see what they require. Your debt to income ratio, that's looking at how much you make and how much debt you have. They want to see if you can really afford this house. And then lastly, they're going to be looking at things like your government issued ID, your driver's license, your social security card, your passport. And then if you are looking for a VA loan, then they might ask you for some proof of your eligibility. And if you're looking for a jumbo loan, they might ask you for additional documents. So that's something to keep in mind.